Hey everyone, my name is Justin Halsey with Edge Home Finance, and I appreciate you being here today or watching the recording. Over the years, I've learned that a lot of veterans and military families have been given bad information about VA loans. Some people are told they need large down payments, others that their credit isn't good enough, or that VA loans are just harder to get accepted. But the truth is, VA loans are one of the strongest home loan programs available today, and my goal is to simplify the process, clear up common misconceptions, and help you better understand how your VA benefits work so you can make a confident decision when it comes to buying a home. I'm passionate about making sure veterans and military families understand their options. Buying a home can already be overwhelming, and VA loans are often misunderstood even by people in the industry. Unfortunately, that can lead to veterans getting bad advice, paying more than what they should, or thinking they can't qualify when they can. So, my goal is simple. I want to make the process easier to understand, help you avoid those mistakes, and make sure you're using the benefits you've earned in the best way possible. So, what actually makes a VA loan different from other types of home loans? The biggest thing is that VA loans were designed to help veterans and military families become homeowners more affordably. That means they come with some major advantages that many buyers don't realize they have access to. For example, many VA buyers can purchase with no down payment. VA loans also don't require monthly mortgage insurance, which can save hundreds per month compared to other loan types. They also tend to offer flexible qualification guidelines, competitive interest rates, and option for seller paid closing costs. Another important thing is to understand that not every lender understands VA loans the same way. That's why you may hear conflicting information online or from different people during the home buying process. So, one common question I hear: how do I know if I qualify for a VA loan? The good news is that many people are eligible and don't even realize it. VA loans are available to many active duty service members, veterans, National Guard members, reservists, and in some cases, even surviving spouses. Another big misconception is that VA loans are only available for first time home buyers. So that's not true at all. Your VA benefits can often be used more than once depending on your situation. I talked to a lot of veterans who assume they lost their benefit because they already used it years ago. Again, not true. This might not be true. So the best thing you can do before starting the home search process is speak with someone who understands VA loans and can help review your eligibility, your buying power, and options up front. Then that can save a lot of stress later in the process. So another common question is whether you can use a VA loan with another person on the mortgage. And in many cases, spouses can purchase together with VA loan benefits with no issues at all. Things do become a little more complicated when the co-borrower is not a spouse, such as a fiance, a parent, a friend, or a significant other. In some of those situations, a down payment may be required even if the veteran would normally qualify for zero down financing on their own. But that doesn't necessarily mean it can't be done. It just means the structure of the loan may look different depending on who is applying. One of the biggest advantages of a VA loan is that there's no monthly mortgage insurance. On many other low down payment programs, buyers have additional monthly costs added to their payment called mortgage insurance. VA loans do not require that monthly expense, which can save veterans hundreds of dollars each month. Now, VA loans do have a one-time funding fee, which we'll talk about next, but again, unlike other loans, there's no monthly mortgage insurance. So, even though VA loans do not have monthly mortgage insurance, many VA loans do include what's called a funding fee. The funding fee is a one time fee that helps keep the VA loan program available for future veterans and military families. The good news is that many veterans may qualify to have that fee completely waived, especially veterans with qualifying service related disabilities. Another benefit is that the fee can be rolled into the loan amount instead of being paid upfront and out of pocket. Now, a surprising thing for many buyers is to learn that VA loans are designed to help reduce upfront costs whenever possible. In many cases, sellers can help contribute towards closing costs, which may lower the amount of cash needed at closing. VA also places limits on certain lender fees to help protect veterans during the home buying process. Every transaction is different, but one of the biggest advantages of the VA loan is the flexibility it can offer when structuring costs and expenses. Another thing that VA loans differ, they don't just look at your credit score or a simple debt calculation. VA loans are designed to look at the bigger financial picture. That means the goal isn't just getting someone approved, the goal is helping veterans qualify for a home payment that is realistic and sustainable for their household. VA also considers factors like overall monthly obligations, family size, and everyday living expenses when reviewing a loan. This is one of the reasons why VA loans can sometimes be more flexible than other loan programs, especially for buyers who have been told no somewhere else. And then when it comes to VA loans and military income, it's quite unique as well. Military pay can look very different from a traditional paycheck. There are often different types of income and allowances that need to be reviewed correctly. For example, some income is taxable, while other parts, like housing and food allowances, may be non taxable. This matters because properly reviewing military income can sometimes help increase buying power and improve overall qualifications. Unfortunately, again, not every lender understands military pay the same way, which is why working with someone experienced in VA lending can help you make a big difference during the approval process. So here's one of the biggest reasons veterans choose VA loans is the possibility of buying a home with no down payment. In many situations, eligible veterans can finance 100% of the purchase price, which can make the home ownership much more accessible. Another common misconception is that they can only use the VA loan once. In reality, many veterans are able to reuse their VA benefits depending on their situation and remaining eligibility. There are other situations where a down payment may be required, especially if part of the VA benefit is already being used on another property. The important thing to remember is that every situation is different, which is why reviewing your eligibility and options up front is so important before starting the home search process. One of the biggest myths about VA loans is that VA appraisals are difficult or impossible to get through. In reality, the VA appraisal process is designed to help protect veterans and make sure the home is safe, livable, and priced appropriately. Like any other loan program, the home does need to meet certain basic property standards, but most homes have no issues at all. VA appraisals are often misunderstood because people hear stories online or from past experiences that don't reflect how the process usually works today. In most cases, if there is an issue, it can often be resolved during the transaction. A big advantage of VA loans is the flexibility they can offer when it comes to upfront costs. So, in many situations, sellers may be able to help cover some closing costs, which can reduce the amount of money a buyer needs out of pocket. VA loans also allow certain gifts from your family members and other approved sources, which can help make homeownership more achievable for many buyers. Another thing people don't realize is that different costs and contributions can often be negotiated as part of the transaction. So before we wrap up, let's cover a few biggest myths I hear about VA loans. One of the most common is that VA loans are difficult for sellers to accept. In reality, VA loans close every day, and when the process is handled correctly, they can be just as smooth as any other type of financing. Another myth is that you need perfect credit to qualify. And while credit does absolutely matter, VA loans are often more flexible than many buyers expect. People always assume VA appraisals automatically create problems, but most homes pass without major issues. I also hear that veterans say they thought they could only use their VA loan one time, and in many situations, that's simply not true. And finally, many people believe VA loans take much longer to close. In reality, VA loans today often close in timelines very similar to conventional FHA loans. But the biggest takeaway is Don't assume you don't qualify or that VA loans won't work for your situation until you've actually had a conversation with someone experienced in VA lending. So, um, before we leave, a few important steps to take before starting the home buying process. First, make sure you understand your VA eligibility and what benefits may be available to you. Many veterans are eligible for more than they realize. Second, take time to review your budget and monthly payment goals. Just because you qualify for a certain amount doesn't always mean that's the payment you feel most comfortable with long term. It's also important to understand your loan options early and get pre approved before starting the home search process. That can help avoid surprises and make the experience much smoother. And finally, work with people who truly understand VA loans. VA financing is an incredible benefit, but experience matters, and having the right team can make a huge difference throughout the process. I do appreciate everyone taking the time to join me today. I hope this helps simplify VA loans and process and clear up some of the confusion and misconceptions surrounding VA financing. If you do have any questions about your eligibility, buy Empire, or the next steps, I'd be happy to connect with you after the presentation. Thank you again for being here.